Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Platypod Perspectives, where we show a fantastic, amazing image. And it's Granny Smith, it's a Granny Smith apple, but even though it's like multiple apples, it's the same apple through multiple lenses and just an amazing thing. And it'll be incredible because by the end of this episode, you'll know how it was done and you'll be able to recreate something like that. And the artist who invented this image is Bob Coates. Bob, how the heck are you, sir?
I am somewhere beyond fabulous, don't you know?
Fantastic. I can't wait to talk to you a little bit about the image and the setup. And I'll ask you, would you please share with us how you created this great image?
Sure. I was looking for something to do on a rainy day, which is this is the kind of thing that you just kind of set up and you just have a great time with. And it also is something that you can experiment with big time. All right, so the setup is actually pretty cool. It's pretty simple. You have a piece of glass, and you treat that glass. One of the things you want to make sure you do is treat that glass, clean it really well, and then if you add some Rain-X to it, be
Oh,
careful.
okay.
Be careful about Rain-X because it is volatile. It is flammable. So you want to when you spray it on, and then you follow the directions. But you maybe you want to do it with the windows open or whatever. But Rain-X will help water bead up. The other thing is, if you look here, you notice I have a little piece of painter's tape around the edges.
Yeah.
Before I did that, I was banging this piece of glass all the time, which would make me crazy. So it gives you an edge. Plus, it also protects your hands because the glass edges can be pretty sharp. So the secret with this is you take the glass, you treat it with the Drain-X, make sure it's very clean, and then get your just use we have a little water spray bottle, and then you can
Okay.
spray some water there, and then you can actually maneuver those drops and things. You can kind of pile them together, make them bigger, make them smaller, just spray them out, and then so that way you can kind of control what you see. A top-down camera angle is really good, and that's where we have the Platypod Extreme, and I've kind of just clamped the Extreme to the desk so that when the weight of the camera doesn't pull everything over. And then so just that little clamp, you can get these at the hardware store, or you can actually use just a little, I've used a squeegee clamp as well. So what I have in here is two platypod handles going up so I can get some height on it. If you
Yeah.
don't raise this up quite so high, you could get away with using one handle going up. Then I've got the Elite going here, and I have another platypod handle going out here. And I have a little Benro ball head at the end there so that I can point the camera straight down. That's an important part of it. Then
Okay.
to help control things, I've got the Ultra with a gooseneck. I'm holding up this little plate right here. The other thing you can do to add some body to your water drops is to add some glycerin. So you could go a 50-50 mix of glycerin. That will give you better water drops.
What
Uh,
does that do?
it gives it body and gives it more shape. So you have a better
Okay.
lens, if you will. If you don't have it, if it flattens out, then you don't have quite as you don't have as sharp a lens if you and it's flat and it doesn't show everything up real well. And
Okay.
then the other thing we do is we've got some whatever background you want to have there. I just have an old red towel underneath here. And then I've got a light that's kind of scrimmed off so that it kind of gets soft and runs off. And then you start to get things like this. You place your product down below, and then you focus on the water drops, not on the
Okay.
subject down below.
Okay,
So
so if I study this a little bit, I can actually see the real orange in this case
down
back
here,
there, and it's kind of faded and fuzzy, but it's there, it's visible.
right?
And then it's crystal clear and sharp inside those beads, which turn out to be water lenses.
Yes. Each one of those will show whatever you have down below over and over again. So it's kind of fun, and you can change it. You can change up your whatever your subject matter is, and again, you want to focus here. And sometimes even depending upon how big and small your water drops are, some water drops will be in focus and some will be out of focus because they're smaller if your
I
depth of
see.
field is really shallow. So then you can blend those together. So that was the image that you showed. This is with some peaches. And then
Nice.
instead of having the red towel as a background, these are down on the white background. And
Okay.
then if you're trying to do something like this, I did this as a product shot. So now
Yeah.
I've focused in two places. I focused underneath the glass on the actual. This is the platted ball ergo, which is fun to do. And then the one thing you need to watch is your water drops are going to be your product will be upside down
Yeah.
because it's upside down and backwards. So what you do is then you take all the water drops and you flip them around. It's a
Oh,
little bit of a
wow.
project, to do this sort of a thing. But I've done this for some clients, and they've been like, "Oh my god, that is so cool."
That's because nobody else can do it until now when you're giving away your behind the scenes.
Oh, you know what? If anybody's willing to work as hard as I do on images, they're more than welcome to whatever I've got. So here's something that's pretty similar where this is a little different setup. Here I'm using the iPhone, and I've got
Okay.
the new iPhone grip that from Platypod, and we're in here. We're doing a macro mode on the water here. So we have water and oil, and as you know, water and oil don't mix, which
Yeah.
I think they mix pretty cool because it looks neat. But in this case, I've got a black background down here, and then I've got two panel lights pushing really super color light on there, and then you end up with a result something like that.
Interesting.
And that's with two different colors. So that's one of those lights is blue, and one of those is purple, and that's with both of them red.
Okay.
And then you can also, and this is a really cool way to do it, you can set an iPad down underneath, which is you could have just one piece, a plate of a pie plate or glass that goes across this space here. But I like
Yeah.
the idea of having the glass here because when you're messing with putting oil in and mixing it up and stuff, you can drip, and you sure don't want to do anything to your
Oh,
iPad.
yeah.
So once you've got that, we've got the iPhone is up here, the grip is here, same setup as before, and then underneath for the background of the oil drops is the iPad, and you can kind of pull up whatever image you want. You can pull colors, you can pull abstracts, you can just poke around, but then you can end up with things like this.
Very interesting.
So again, same kind of setup, but a whole new world to play in.
Well, Bob, I can't tell you how much I appreciate getting the behind the scenes of these water droplets. And you answered some questions that I didn't even know were questions that I had. Bob, thank you
Well,
so much for this.
yeah, no problem. Always happy to share.
Okay, now, speaking of that, tell people how they can find out more about you. Can they go to workshops? Do you do anything like that?
Check my website, successful-photographer.com. And if you go in there, you'll see my workshops. I do a Milky Way and night sky photo workshops, 3-day class here in Sedona. I also do coaching online if you want to do some one-on-one things, if you have questions about putting stuff together. But, always happy to help and share.
Bob, thank you again so much for taking your time today and sharing with us the behind the scenes of that amazing image and the Granny Smith apple, like 8 times, 9 times in the image, even more than that because of all those little lenses. It was great stuff. Every time you tune in to Platypod Perspectives, you're going to learn something and find out about a great piece of art from an amazing photographer. Bob Coates this time. Who knows who's going to be next time?